Finnish black metal review time on Rauta. Welcome. Today we talk about a little bit about a band called Sargeist, which is named after two German words. If you're not familiar, it's not Finnish, but the band itself is very Finnish. Started this in 1999 as a solo project by Rauta of Finnish black metal band Horna. This band has went through many changes throughout the years, and now we have the fifth album, and now with totally new lineup. This is called Unbound, and here you have the track list of the new album. Released by World Terror Committee. This album is already out, came in like mid October 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Here's the booklet with this black and white cover image. Here are the more or less essential information. I don't know why the zoom is not working, but well, you're gonna get the physical release, right? So here is Mr. Rauta and some of the lyrics. Let's just go briefly through how this booklet looks like. As you can see, kind of a old English font for people with not bad eyes to read. But hey, that's the price of entering a very traditional black metal. And here's the new lineup picture. As you might know, the rest of the guys are more or less new, except Mr. Rauta here. Here are the new vocalist in the middle. Oh, it's my middle finger too. Oh no! The drummer and also new, and the rest of the guys, which are also new one. This is the second oldest guy in the band since 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And the American force here, and the Finnish drummer you might know from a couple of bands such as Desolate Shrine and whatnot, and Mr. Profundus, the vocalist, which is, you know, gotten fame for many bands such as Sacrilegious Impalement Urn and whatnot. Also the Red Crescent and whatnot, but pointless to list them all. You can pretty much, you know, check out the information if you have any Googling skills or use of Metal Archive. Now, Sargeist has been always seen as a kind of a Horna side project, which kind of makes sense considering that Mr. Rauta is the main guy behind both of these bands, not to mention his other projects. As you might remember, the band's longtime lineup had a couple of members from B-Hexen, yet another great Finnish black metal band, from on drums and vocals. But something changed a couple of years ago in 2016 when the lineup kind of went to turmoil and 3 guys went out and 3 guys entered. And as such, the band lineup changed very profoundly. And one might even say that the Sargeist have now totally shedded its skin, as this is their first album with the new lineup. Now, those of you who are not familiar with Horna, makes very little sense for me to compare to that band, but I feel it's kind of a mandatory thing to do considering how close, yet so apart they are from each other. One can pretty much spot that the guitar work is not that different, really. However, the kind of overall feeling is a little bit different. I don't know which one is exactly darker, but for me, Horna has more or less been kind of a more, I don't know, maybe more aggressive, maybe more melodic. But then again, these are more rather kind of like my personal associations in my head rather than, you know, just cold facts. So take it as you will. If you feel like I'm totally wrong, I probably am wrong. That's as far as I can go about that. But talking about Sargeist music, well, it's very much, you know, Finnish black metal with more fast tempo than whatnot. But then again, there are also these slower parts, which then again make this whole album a little bit more interesting. However, this new album, Unbound, is not exactly filled with great riffs, great melodies, great compositions, you know, the stuff that will be memorable some 5 or 15 years from now on. But rather it's a album with kind of a dark, very traditional black metal atmosphere, and then not much else. Also, the production on this album is kind of a what I would call sphere-like. It's lacking the kind of the sharp edges, which are just, you know, to cut your fingers and hands when you're just holding. It feels like it's like kind of like a ball, like a kind of a safe, kind of a nice, you know. As much as you turn it around, you don't find these holes or sharp places. You know, it lacks the kind of a danger, the element of turmoil and, you know, whatnot. Everything is kind of like safe, which is not exactly a positive term when we're talking about black metal. However, I don't mean as an insult, of course, nor even as a negative word, but I'm kind of trying to point out that this is not exactly an album that is very easy to kind of like get, you know, the feel of danger, or, you know, get the hooks in or get that hold. It's somewhat kind of a all around, a little bit that, and that it is. That even applies to the production of the album. With a small annoyance, the drums are a little bit high in the mix, and as such, they sometimes kind of a block the guitars a little bit on the back, you know, and especially when the drums are, you know, doing loud cymbals, you know, maybe not with the ride. Well, ride has more than the hi-hat probably, but crashes and those are kind of like leaving the guitars a little bit too much on the background. I'm not saying that it's kind of a big deal, but it's slightly annoying. But the overall thing is, with me anyway, that while they are nice melodies and really nice vocals, which are very aggressive and kind of a raspy, a bit more high-pitched, but not extremely high-pitched, kind of a screamy. I mean, they work well. The drums are, you know, just great, and guitar space, whatever, they are just fine. But the final touch, which separates just good from the majestic greatness, well, the bad is more on the just good side. And by that I mean it's kind of an all-around good. I mean, there are no bigger complaints on my behalf whatsoever. This is a nice album to get into. It's kind of easy. But then again, after I'm finished with a few spins of the album, like, I cannot point my finger on any track like, okay, just put track number 4 and click on the 2 minutes 30 seconds and you will find a specific riff. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. So everything is like nice overall feeling, but kind of a far still away from that greatness. So definitely for fans of Sargeist and even Horna and whatnot, Finnish black metal in the first place, Unbound is very safe bet, so to speak. But it's not one of those albums that will be on the lists when albums of this decade, Finnish black metal otherwise, will be picked. It's kind of too basic for that kind of stuff and fame. But then again, it's more a good album than anything else. So with this information, I urge you to check out the album yourself and decide if it's your cup of tea or not. For me, Unbound is good, not great. See ya, and drop some comments on the box below. Cheers.